Yeah, thank you all for joining the session. Um, we feel free. So we keep doing these webinars in and around some topics on UiPath. This one is about unified workflows. So any similar engagements that you see online, feel free to share it with your colleagues. Feel free to share it with your networks. It is it would be good to get as many people learn about the latest updates or features or capabilities of a platform that we have. And most importantly, all these sessions, as you can see, are run by people like yourselves, who are trying something new and willing to share what you have learned. So if you have any ideas, if you have any topics in mind that you are willing to come forward and share, feel free to reach out to Jobin over here, Nitin over here, and we would be happy to set up a similar webinar or an in-person engagements to give you that platform so that you can share. Don't wait for any expertise; they can guide you on how. What do we need in terms of preparation for setting up these sessions, which isn't much. So yeah, we want to get as many new champions as possible, who can talk about tech and who can share their knowledge and help others in their automation journey. So yeah, that's all. I'm Rohit. I manage the UiPath community. I'm from UiPath based in Bangalore. And today we have Sneha as a speaker and Jobin, who is leading the Kerala Chennai chapters. Nitin is also here. So over to you.
Hi, good evening, everyone. My name is Sneha Vijayan. I'm working as an associate consultant in Infosys. So, I'm very excited to be here with you all as part of UiPath Kerala chapter. Let's go through UiPath Data Fabric. So, let's get started. Let me share my screen. Is it visible?
Yes, it is.
So, Um, Now, like when we talk about automations or agentic AI, like we often think about doing repetitive tasks like reading mails, uh, updating spreadsheets, everything like that. So, but then the real challenge and the real opportunity is in how those automation interact with data, because automation without data is like a robot with no brain. So in today's enterprise world, data is everywhere. Like it's in CRMs like Salesforce or in IT tools, in spreadsheet, in customer portals, but it's fragmented. It's like inconsistent. So when we try to automate across those systems, we hit roadblocks. So UiPath Data Fabric solved that problem. It brings real-time governed and unified data assets directly into our automations. So in this session, we will walk you through what is Data Fabric, why it matters, and how you can use it. And also we will look at two real-world demos, like one integrating our Data Fabric with Freshdesk customer support platform, and other for we will be using Data Fabric for HR onboarding flow using Google Sheets. So by the end, we will see how Data Fabric turns disconnected system into intelligent, scalable workflows, and how we can start using it in our own project. So let's dive in. So here what we will cover today. So first, we will start by understanding what UiPath Data Fabric actually is and how it evolved from the older UiPath Data Service. Then we will talk about why it matters especially in solving the challenges of data fragmentation across systems. And then we will look at how Data Fabric helps break down the silos and turns them into real-time data streams that our automation can consume. Then we will go for live demos. So in the first demo, we will be connecting Data Fabric with Freshdesk and the other HR onboarding. Then finally, we will be wrap up with Q&A and an open discussion. So let's begin with the first topic. What is exactly UiPath Data Fabric? So UiPath Data Fabric is the next generation of what was previously known as UiPath Data Service. So, but it's not just a rename, it's a major upgrade. Data Fabric acts as a centralized governed data layer inside the UiPath Automation Cloud. So think of it as a secure, unified foundation where all your automations, apps, and AI agents can access and share the same live data. So traditionally, bots had to connect to each system individually using APIs, Excel exports, or custom integration. That led to duplication, delays, and version conflicts. So with this data fabric, you define entities like customer, tickets, employee, and those entities can pull data from internal source, external system, and like external system like multiple and from different multiple sources. So we can say that the data stays live and synchronized. For example, if a ticket is uploaded in this Freshdesk customer support application, it reflects instantly in the data fabric and our automation run with the latest context. So whenever in that external source data get updated, it automatically get reflected in our data fabric. So it's not just a database, it's a smart automation data layer. So we can use it directly in our studio, also with activities like create entity, update record, query entity, delete record, like that. And also now it support triggers. So we can run automation automatically when a record is created or updated. So in simple terms, we can say that UiPath Data Fabric lets us to manage our enterprise data in one place and ensure every automation work on trusted real-time information. Key capabilities and features. So let's break down what Data Fabric actually gives us. So first, secure governed business data storage. So you don't need to set up external database or manage SQL servers. Everything lives inside UiPath Automation Cloud. Then common entity definition and relationships means we can define reusable data models like customer, ticket, or employee and use them across multiple automations. Then direct access, whether you are working in studio or building dashboards in apps or using integration service or deploying AI agents, they all access the same live data. Then trigger support. You can run automations automatically when data changes, like when a ticket is resolved or an onboarding step is completed, the data gets updated in the data fabric entity, and based on that, we can automatically, a process can start to run. And finally, zero copy integration, like data is fetched live from the external systems like Salesforce or Freshdesk, and you don't need to duplicate or sync manually. So instead of building custom integrations for every use case, we can build once and reuse everywhere. So that's what means governed and unified data. So evolution from data service to data fabric. So now that we have seen what data fabric is and what it offers, let's take a step back and understand how it evolved. Some of you might be familiar with UiPath Data Service, which was introduced earlier as a way to store structured data inside the UiPath platform. It allowed us to define entities, store records, and use them in automation, all without needing an external database. But as automation needs grew, so did the limitations of the data service. That's where our data fabric comes in. So think of it like this. If data service was our filling cabinet, like a place to store and retrieve data, data fabric is our connected data engine. Like it doesn't just store data, it activates it. So what's new in data fabric? So first is trigger and events. Like it's a game changer. Like now we can start automation automatically when a record is created or updated in our data fabric. And zero copy integration. This means you don't have to duplicate data from external system. Instead, data fabric connects directly to the live sources like Salesforce or Freshdesk and fetch data in real time. And third, advanced connectors. Like these are pre-built, like no code integration with uh, many business systems, like from CRMs to ERP, then some cloud apps. No code integration required. Then governed and AI enablement, like we can now control access at a granular level and track changes with audit logs and even feed this data into AI models using UiPath AI Center or Maestro. So this isn't just a rename, it's a complete transformation. So data fabric takes the foundation of data service and turn it into real-time, intelligent and scalable data layer from the entire UiPath platform. So that's bring us to the next question. Why does this matter so much? So most organizations today, maybe in yours, are dealing with data fragmentation. So think about it like customer data lives in Salesforce, support tickets are in Freshdesk, HR records are in spreadsheet, finance use QuickBooks. So when we try to automate a process that touch all of the system, it become a nightmare. Like we end up writing 5 different integration. You are consistently syncing data, and if one API changes, everything breaks. So this is where UiPath Data Fabric makes a huge difference. It acts as a single source of truth, means a governed, unified, real-time data layer that all your automations can rely on. So instead of building 5 integrations, you connect once and every automation consumes the same consistent model. Uh, for example, imagine like you are automating a customer refund process. So you need to check is the customer is eligible. Do they have any open tickets? What's their payment history? So without data fabric, you would have to call 3 different systems. But with data fabric, all of the data is already unified in one place. So your board just queries the, for example, if it's in the customer entity in data fabric, our board just queries this customer entity and gets everything it need in one go. So that is faster, more reliable, and easier to maintain. And because data fabric is governed, like you can control who sees what and ensure compliance without data policies. So in short, we can say that uh, we get faster automations, less manual reconciliation, stronger governance, and smarter decisions. So that's the actual power of data fabric. From silos to streams. So now let's go a little deeper into this idea of what data fragmentation and how data fabric helps us move from silos to streams. So in most enterprises, each department use its own tools. Like sales have Salesforce, support has Freshdesk, HR uses maybe spreadsheet like that, and none of the system talk to each other. So when we are trying to automate a process that spans departments like onboarding a new employee or handling a customer escalation, you are stuck. So you either build customer integration for every system or you rely on manual exports and patchwork logic. So that's not scalable. So UiPath Data Fabric changes this by creating a flow of connected data. So, for example, let's say a new customer is created in Salesforce. That record automatically appear in our data fabric. Later, the same customer raises a support ticket in Freshdesk. So this data fabric can link these two data points. Like it can link the two points from this Freshdesk and Salesforce, like using the same customer ID. So now our bot can instantly check if this is a premium customer or if there are any open tickets or we need to escalate like that. So you didn't have to build any custom integration. Data Fabric keep those connection alive and your automations just consume the unified data. So this is what we mean by turning silos into streams. Like instead of static, disconnected system, we get a real-time governed data flow that powers our automation. So architecture overview. So let's take a look at how this works. Like the architecture of UiPath Data Fabric is made up of three main layers. First is data layer. So data layer means this is where our entities live. Like entities are like structured tables. For example, ticket entity or a customer entity. So this can be local entity. Local entity means which we will be directly creating in our data fabric, or external entities. Like it means we will be connecting it to the systems like Salesforce or Freshdesk or ServiceNow via integration service. So it's where you configure your connection to external system. So once we authenticate, the UiPath can handle the rest. Then the third is conception layer. So this is where both apps, triggers all use the data from that entity. For example, we can say studio workflow that query or update records, UiPath apps that display dashboard, orchestrated triggers that launch processes when data changes. So here's how it all comes together. So let's say a ticket is updated in Freshdesk. That update flows through our integration service into the data fabric entity. So if you are configured a trigger, like for example, we have configured trigger, like it should start, a process needs to start when the status is resolved. So that time the trigger launches a process. So all of this happens securely in real time with full governance. So you are not just automating tasks, you are building data driven, event based workflows that scale. connector and trigger mechanics. So now let's talk about how UiPath Data Fabric connects with external system and how it triggers automation. So at the core of this connectivity is our UiPath integration service. So this is what allow Data Fabric to talk to many applications without needing to write any code or manage APIs manually. So let's say like you want to connect to Freshdesk. So we will go to the integration service in our cloud and we will authenticate it using our credentials, and that's it. The connection is ready. So once connected, all available objects like tickets, contacts, and agents appear as options. So in Data Fabric, we can then create an entity based on that object. For example, an entity called support ticket, like that. So this Data Fabric then automatically syncs the schema, means it can fetch field like the ticket ID, subject, priority, status, like that, directly from that created tickets from the Freshdesk, and it will be visible in our Data Fabric entity. And also we can also add local field, like we can add any local field like escalation level or something like that also. So this is here when it gets powerful. And also we can create triggers that respond to changes in this data. For example, like when a ticket status become resolved, a trigger can start a process that sends a email or something like that. So these triggers can configure in orchestrator, like from orchestrator then to integration service, then from integration service to triggers. So we can choose the connector, the event type, like whether the record need record update or record create, and the filter condition, like based on a specific condition only the trigger need to be start, like that. We can say like connector means here the connector will be UiPath Data Fabric. The event will be maybe the record updated or record created, and entity, the entity which we created in the Data Fabric, for example, support ticket or something like that. And filter, we can give whether the status is equal to resolved, something like that. So when you link into a process, maybe to send something or to update the CRM, something like that, it will automatically get started. So this is how we move from scheduled polling to event driven automation. And because the connector uses internal UiPath authentication, we don't need to manage API keys or credentials. So everything is secure, governed, and seamless. Using entities in Studio or workflow. So now let's shift to developer's perspective. So once your entities are defined in Data Fabric, you can interact with them directly from Studio using connector, like using UiPath Data Fabric connection. So we don't need to install any external package or configure anything manually. Studio automatically detects the connection and gives us a set of activities that are built specifically for Data Fabric entities. So this include query entity record, means to read data from using filter or condition. Then create entity record means to insert new record, and update entity record means to modify the entity. Then delete entity record to remove the records, and get entity record by ID to fetch a specified record. So these activities are intuitive and entity aware. So you are not juggling variables or mapping. So let me walk you through a simple example. Like we can say your bot needs to verify a ticket and escalate unresolved cases. So first it will query the that support ticket entity. for all the tickets, we can specify with the status equal to pending. So it updates the escalation level, then it rewrite it to the fresh desk back. So we can create like that. So all of this happens inside the studio only, using our normal drag and drop activities. So you don't need to write any API calls or database queries. And with triggers, we can also create triggers. So with these triggers, our workflows can launch automatically when data changes. So instead of checking every hours, our bot react instantly. So this is what we mean by data driven automation. Then licensing and quotas, DFU. So let's talk about something important, licensing. So every UiPath tenant includes data fabric units or DFUs. So this measure your usage, storage, API calls, and attachments. So for community license, the storage will be 100 MB and API calls per day will be 1000, and attachments, its support is 500 MB. And for enterprise license, the storage will be 1 GB and API calls per day will be 10,000 and attachments will be 5 GB. So each CRUD operation, query or trigger consumes DFUs. So if you create a record, that's one DFU. Um, if you query 100 records, that's 100 DFUs. So you can monitor usage in the automation cloud dashboard and request more if needed. So if you are on community plan, you will want to optimize your logic to avoid unnecessary calls. For example, like instead of querying the entire entity, we can apply specific filters like status is equal to pending, like that. And if you're scaling up, singing thousands of tickets, we might want to move to enterprise license. So we can also allocate more DFUs to our tenant or provision a new fabric tenant if needed. So we just need to keep an eye on our usage and design efficiently. So best practice or design patterns. So now let's talk about some best practices, things I have learned from building real world automation with Data Fabric. So first we can start small, like pick one core entity like customer or ticket and build a pilot. Don't try to model everything at once. Then second, use clear naming conversions. Prefix your fields, use consistent casing, and avoid ambiguous names. So this helps when multiple teams are working on the same project. Then use relationships instead of duplications. For example, if you're storing departments and employees, link them using a relationship. Don't repeat departments info in every records. So this keeps your data normalizing and easier to maintain. Then use triggers wisely. So triggers are powerful, but they consume DFU. So can impact the performance. So use them only for critical events like status change or onboarding completion, something like that. Then monitor DFU usage. Check with automations, which automations are consuming the most unit and optimize them. Then version your schema carefully. Like if you add fields or change relationships, make sure you test thoroughly. You don't want to break existing workflows. And finally, audit and log your changes. Data Fabric support audit history. So we can track who changed what and when. So this is especially important for compliance and governance. So we can summarize that: start small, name clearly, normalize data, use triggers wisely, monitor DFUs, version carefully, audit everything. So this best practice will help you build robust, scalable automation with Data Fabric. So now let us go through the use case. So in the first, uh, we will be connecting the Freshdesk application with our data fabric, and we will be seeing like if any new tickets are created in the data in the Freshdesk, it automatically gets updated in the data fabric object, and based on that we can use it in our automations. Jobin, is it visible? Uh, Orchestrator.
Yes, orchestrator is not visible. I can see your presentation. Maybe you should have to screen share the another screen.
Yeah. Is it visible now?
Yes, it is.
Okay. So I'm in my UiPath Automation Cloud portal. So in the left panel, we will be able to see the integration service. So here, when I go to connections, uh, you will see that I have already created a connection to the Freshdesk. So like using our credentials, like we will be able to authenticate, and we will be able to connect to the external application from our integration service. Now let's switch to data fabric. So here in the left panel, we will be able to see data fabric. So if it's not there, we need to enable it from our tenant services. Okay, so this open data fabric. So here we can see all my data projects live. So here you can see all the um, created entities, and also by clicking on this create entity, we will be able to create new entity. And in our entity, if we are creating using any choice set, we can create that by clicking this manage choice sets. So here I have already created one entity called ticket support, in which I have connected this data fabric to the uh, Freshdesk. So Freshdesk is a customer support application where we can create tickets like that. So let me go to the Freshdesk. So in this application, like I have created some dummy tickets. So now let's see how we can connect these Freshdesk tickets into our data fabric. So first that we need to click on manage entity, and we need to add object by clicking on add object. So when we click on add object, we will be able to see external source and local field. So if we are creating a local entity, like with our some local fields, we can click on this local field and we can create accordingly. If we are connecting it to an external source, external system like mm Salesforce, SAP, or CRM, we can choose it from here. So I will be choosing fresh desk, and here if we haven't connected, it will show us to mm, connect here, and using UiPath authentication we will, and our mm, credentials like domain details, we will be able to easily connect it to the external system. So already I have made a connection in my integration service, and here we can choose the object, like if we need to get the details of agents or tickets, products, groups, like that. So here we are fetching the details of the tickets from this external application. So need to select the ticket and need to click on proceed. So I have already created. So after that, it will come to this page, and we can choose which all fields related to the tickets required in our this data fabric. So we can select it accordingly. So I have selected, created the requested email, priority, status, subject ID, like details. So uh, when we go to this data, we will be able to see the all the data related to that specific object. So we have already seen that there are 3 tickets already created, and we will be able to see the fields which the details of the fields which we selected related to that all the tickets. For example, let us create a another ticket. So let me choose, then subject maybe data issue. Then when I click on create, one new ticket is created in our external application, fresh desk. So when we go back to our data fabric, and when we refresh, we are able to see that new created ticket. So here, like we haven't done, like it's automatically getting reflected. So whenever any new data is getting updated in our external application, it automatically get updated in our data fabric. So we don't require to do any coding or any API integration or anything. So whenever a data get updated or created, any changes happens, it automatically get reflected in our data fabric. So this is how it works. Then I have created another entity called customer directory. So this I have created as a local entity. Like I have locally defined the fields with some fields, and I have added some values like some dummy values. So we know that, as we discussed earlier, uh, in maybe for one automation we need data from different applications, like maybe we need data from Freshdesk and maybe from Salesforce or SAP. So we can uh, we can get the details from different applications into one data, like from into one data fabric by mapping. So for this, I will be using this custom directory entity, which I have locally created. So for that, we need to create on manage entity, and same like that, we need to create add object. So um, if we are integrating or connecting it to any another external source, we can select it from here. So here I am connecting it to the another data fabric entity. So I need to choose UiPath Data Fabric. So already I have created the connection. Then in the object, we will be able to see the available entity. So let me choose customer directory and proceed. So now in this data fabric, we are able to see the other entity also. So now we can map these two datas into one by manage joins. So before that, we need to add the fields. So for example, let me choose sign up, plain type like that, and also maybe the customer name. So now, like, suppose this customer name in this entity and the name in this name in the tickets created in the fresh desk are same. So we need the data of this specific customer from this different entity or different applications. So first, we can easily map this based on that name, and we will be able to see the details of that customer from different entity or different application in one data. So for that, we need to click on manage joins, and let me select the source object as ticket and source field name and the target object as customer directory and the customer name. Then let us save. So that mapping is completed. Based on the name, we have mapped the two different datas into one. So in the data, we will be able to see the details like in the customer directory, this Neha, PV, Sarah, James, these details are there, and here also it's there. So, like how normal join works, easily we can connect join the two different entities into one, and in our process we can use this. So this work on like different application. If we need details of a customer from SAP and also from maybe CRM, these two applications data we can integrate into one data fabric, and from this one table, from this one data fabric, we can use it in our process. So this is our one use case of how we can connect it to an external source, and how it get when we update any data in that external source, how it get reflected in our data fabric, and how we can connect one external system into an another created entity or any another created external sources. So let's see the other use case, onboarding employee. So here I have created one local data fabric with fields like employee ID name. So this is just a small process for onboarding some employee. So I have added the document status, IT status, training status, like that. So I have created one Google Sheet. So here we cannot directly connect Google Sheets to our data fabric, but through Studio, we can easily fetch the data from the sheets and can update the data fabric. So I have added some details like name, email ID, and the status. So, so in this process, when the status like document status, IT status, training status, everything become complete. Um, when this everything becomes complete, the welcome send will become S, and when the status is like welcome is not sent, like it means it's ready to send a welcome to the corresponding employee. We have created another small process where we will simply send an email. So we will add it as an trigger, event trigger. So when this welcome send become yes and status become welcome not sent, automatically that process get triggered. The trigger will fire and that process will get to start. So we will see how we can connect the trigger into this data fabric. So this is a small small process in which we will be creating the entity, or in which we will be updating the entity in our data fabric. So uh, in the connections, all connections, when we search data fabric, from here we will be able to directly connect our data fabric, and also same like how we connect our Google Sheets. uh, like we will be able to see all the connections here. So same like that we will be able to connect our data fabric. So, and after connecting, uh, in the activities, we will be able to see all the activities that we can use for updating or creating relate to perform the activities related to our data fabric, such as create entity record, delete entity, and even also triggers are supported, like record created or record updated. Based on that, triggers are also supported. So here we don't have added any data. So when we run that process, the bot will add the details to this data fabric, and based on the status, it will also add the welcome status related thing also. And in our orchestrator, we know like how to set triggers, right? So normal like that, we can create event triggers based on this data fabric. So I have created one trigger, send welcome. So same like that, we will be choosing the process which need to run. So this is one another process in which we just send the mail, and after sending mail, we will update that send status field in the data fabric into welcome sent. So I have chosen that. I have already published that process. So I have chosen that trigger welcome email process. And when we come to this event detail, we can select the connector as our data fabric. So it's in the preview state now. And like we have already created one connection in our integration service, right? So we need to choose that. And here we can choose the event, like whether this process need to run when the record is created or updated in the data fabric. So I have chosen a record created, and we can choose the record. Record means the entity. We can choose the corresponding entity for this configuration. And also, if required, we can add filters like this should only run when this field is true, or this field equal to this, like that. So I have added should only run when the welcome send is true and the status is does not equal to welcome send. So in this onboarding Excel, in the sheet, we know that in the for the first detail, everything is complete. So if everything is complete, it means that welcome status will be true, and the bot should send the mail. So when I run this process, it will create the uh, data in that entity, and once it created and everything become completed and that welcome status become true, that time that trigger get fired. So let's see how it works. So I have started this process. So this will create the data in our entity. So let's retry. Okay. So when we go through the here data to our data fabric, we will be able to see the data have added welcome with complete, and already I have sent the welcome. Because of that, the welcome it's welcome sent. So let's just change it to welcome not send just to see how that trigger works. So when we see, we are able to see like before 1 minute ago, that trigger have like that process have started. It means um, when these new items were created, that process got that trigger got fired and that corresponding process ran. So let's check whether that send email part have worked or not. So we got the corresponding email. Sorry, my bad. After sending this mail, it got that bot automatically updated welcome send. So it happened in just a like in a that much small in a that much small time this happened. Like when this data get created in our entity, that trigger got fired and the process ran, it sent the mail, and after that it have updated the welcome send. So like this, based on this live data, the trigger gets the trigger got fired, and because of that the process start to run. So this is like how we can use our data fabric in our real-time projects. So let's continue our session. So advanced or deep features. So as we discussed, the advanced are like API access, like we can perform bulk operation, and as we discussed, audit trails also supported, and we can export and import data from our data fabric, and also the events are event subscriptions. And as we discussed, the challenges are DFU is limited, so we need always to uh, uh, check the DFUs, and performance with high volume data. Like if it's not that much required, we should not use triggers or something like that. and schema challenges and backward scalability. And while handling large attachments also, maybe it will take some time. So we should check that also. So this all are not challenges. It's like the things we should be checking. Means like we can link entities together. Like these features make data fabric not just a um, it's not a limitations blockers. They are just things that we need to aware of. So let's summarize what we have covered today. Like UiPath Data Fabric is our internal governed unified data backbone inside the our UiPath platform. So it connects directly to systems like Freshdesk, Salesforce, or like through our apps, uh, Studio for apps and like Google Sheets. So we can define entities, build relationship, and use these triggers to launch automations in real time. So we get a single source of truth, event-driven workflows, strong governance, and seamless integration across departments. So we don't need external database. We don't need custom APIs. Everything happens inside our UiPath securely and scalably. So what's next? Like I encourage you all to go to our cloud tenant, open data fabric, create projects and start with one entity, use triggers and see how it transforms our workflow. So once we get comfortable, we can scale up, we can connect to external system, build dashboards, drive enterprise wide automations. But we always like what we discuss in challenges, same like we just always remember that we need to monitor our DFUs, we should version our schema, and we should design for governance. So with all this place, we will be able to unlock the full power of UiPath Data Fabric. That brings up to the end of our session. So today we saw how UiPath Data Fabric help unify fragmented data across systems, synchronize live updates from platforms like Freshdesk, and build intelligent trigger-based automation, all within our UiPath ecosystem. So whether you are an RPA developer, a solution architect, or a analyst, Data Fabric gives you the tool to scale automation securely and intelligently. So I hope this session gave you a clear, practical understanding of how to start implementing it in our own project. So I would love to open the floor now for questions. So feel free to ask about anything we covered today or share your own any cases. So thank you for joining, and I hope you all had you all are excited as I am about the possibilities UiPath Data Fabric brings to the future of automation. So that's all from me. Thank you.